Sorry. This 2023 Ford Lightning is so comfortable that all I want to do is take a nap. You can take this front seat and literally turn it into a bed. Or if you wanted to, you could take this back seat and lie down flat and use it as a bed. These F-150s are so huge and enormous that these are like houses on wheels. And this Ford F-150 Lightning is basically a more advanced electric version of the F-150 gas-powered truck. Ford's intention of reusing these components was to keep the cost low, but that didn't quite happen because when the truck was originally introduced, it was slated to be $40,000, and now the price is at the very least $60,000, but much more with the Lariat and the Platinum versions. This Lightning could easily be six figures, and in this video, I'll show you around the Ford F-150 Lightning and give you my perspective on whether or not you should buy this truck for that kind of a price tag. It doesn't matter how big or tall you are, you can actually fit in this vehicle, and not just fit, but feel very comfortable. You can also adjust the pedals in this F-150 Lightning by pushing this button, and the pedals will just move forward or backward. As a passenger, this is probably one of the most comfortable spots you can be in any vehicle, because look at this space in here. It's so wide, you're so far away from the driver, and it actually feels like you're sitting on a lazy boy at your home in the living room. All you need is a TV remote and beer, and you're all good. And that's why the seats can go back down all the way, because within 5 minutes, you're just gonna wanna pass out. Normally in the back seat of most cars, even SUVs, the middle seat is uncomfortable and kind of a tight squeeze. Nobody really wants to be in the middle. But in this F-150 truck, this is so wide back here that you could fit 3 adults, no problem at all. And maybe even a 4th one if they're small. And I don't think anyone back here would complain. In this F-150 Lightning, you got the digital dash and this screen, which is smaller than what you'd find in the Mach-E. But the upgraded versions like the Lariat and the Platinum do come with the taller screens. The technology in here isn't anything super fancy. You got your basics like all of your apps and settings. With navigation, it's not quite as smooth as what you're used to in other cars. It's a little bit jerky, and the touch response is not nearly as good as what you might find in a Tesla. And then in features, you got your standard items, drive modes. You can put it into sport, off-road, towing. And one of the cool features in here is zone lighting, which when you turn this on at night, it really lights everything up around you. This is especially useful when you're going camping and it's super dark outside, and this does a really nice job of lighting everything. There's a ton of lights on this truck. With this Ford Lightning, just like any other F-150s, you're gonna find a lot of cheap plastic, and all of these things have a hollow feel to them. And then you can even see kind of edges of the plastic where it wasn't cut out properly. So these are all the imperfections and quality problems that might bother you if we're gonna pay this amount for a truck. This Ford Lightning actually works out better than the normal F-150 because if you need to travel, you actually got a real space to put all your luggage into. Click on this remote twice and it just opens. Takes a long time though. Driving this truck, you definitely feel the weight of it. It is 6,800 pounds. But luckily you got 775 pound-feet of torque, 450 plus horsepower. So moving this truck and driving it is really easy to do, especially knowing you have that instant electric torque that we've come to know and love with our favorite Teslas. And Ford's replicated that same thing here, which is really magical for this giant F-150. The fact that you can get from 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, that definitely makes this a much more fun car to drive than a normal F-150. But the range on the base version is right around 230 miles. You can get the extended battery life that gives you 320, but the price also goes up a lot more with that, which is really the problem with the Lightning, because to get the extended battery life, to get the right trim, to get that premium version, you're gonna easily pay $80, $90, or $100,000. So the question as I'm driving this around is, would I pay that much for a truck like this? Flooring this, of course, is a lot of fun. And who wouldn't have fun doing that a lot? And F-150 buyers are not gonna buy this truck to floor it and enjoy the gobs of power, but it's certainly a perk that they get if they purchase this. With F-150, the typical owner would use it to haul things around, to tow trailers. So the problem with the Lightning is there's been a lot of stories where people are trying to tow things with this F-150 Lightning, and it really just kills the range of the battery. So that's something that Ford needs to address, because almost everybody's gonna wanna tow something with this. The whole purpose of the F-150 is that it's a utility, it's a work truck, so it has to be useful in that way. And right now, with the way the battery ranges are and how it works, you can totally use this car for daily driving in town. But paying $80,000, $90,000 for something just to get around in town, I think you have better options for that at the moment. Now, you don't buy one of these for its handling prowess or agility, but just the fact that the batteries are down there weighing it down in the low center of gravity, this truck obviously is far better handling than the normal F-150. You're still aware of the enormity of this truck, but just the fact that there's a little less body roll and more control over it and the lower center of gravity, it does help with the handling of it. And with turns and twists, it actually doesn't feel that bad. I'm impressed. You can think of this Ford Lightning as a fancier, more comfortable, enhanced version of the Ford F-150, and they did all of the right things with this truck. It's super smooth and quiet and comfortable, much more so than the standard F-150. It's a much heavier truck than the Ford F-150, mainly because of the giant battery packs that this car is sitting on. It requires so much power to propel the 6,500-pound truck, and with the enormous power that it has, the 775 pound-feet of torque, this thing can just fly. You're so high off the ground in this F-150 and insulated, it feels like you're kind of floating, and it's really quiet and comfortable. And I can see the F-150 being really great for road trips, especially if you have a lot of people that you want to take with you. This is a very comfortable way to get around. It's just a very smooth and thoughtfully designed truck that I think most people will enjoy. Ford has built a really impressive truck here with the F-150 Lightning, but I just don't think we should pay $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 today for this, because there's quite a few things the truck needs to work out. There's all kinds of manufacturing issues. Ford was shut down for a while with this. They're losing so much money on these cars, projected to lose $3 billion this year on electric vehicles. I think Ford is in the early stages, just like Tesla was. And Elon Musk has said this a few times, where prototypes are easy to build, production is hard. And I think Ford is just struggling with production right now. So we should just let them work out the kinks, get all the manufacturing stuff figured out, and get these to a price point where it is actually affordable to the mass market. Ford had the vision of selling these at $40,000, and I think they can still get there. A base model like this truck with cloth seats, not a lot of options or technology on the inside, should not be costing $60,000, $70,000 right now. It should actually cost under $50,000, and Ford can get there. So until they can get to that point, I think we should look elsewhere. There's so many alternatives like the Rivian or any of your other electric vehicles. Once Ford figures out the scaling issues and these trucks actually become mainstream, then it would be the perfect time to get one.